Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Totalbiscuit. I'm here to ask and answer one simple question. WTF is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles out of the shadows? You know, here's an interesting fact for some of you, especially those of you in America. The Europeans probably know this. In Europe, for the longest time, this was called Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles, because ninja, at the time, was considered too violent a word for kids. So the cartoon series that I got to see when I was growing up, I didn't see the films when I was growing up. I saw the cartoon series that played on CITV. It was called Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles. So it was a little odd for me to suddenly discover, actually, it was ninja the entire time. They were just lying to me. Kind of like this game. This game lies about being a good game, unfortunately. Yeah, we're starting off negative. That's just going to be the way of things. I haven't had a lot of negativity on this channel over the past couple of weeks. We're looking towards the future. And great, interesting titles on the horizon. This is not one of them. No, it isn't. Alright, let's have a look at the options menu, shall we? It has separate volume sliders, which I do like. You know, this is a feature that I really like, and I'm happy that it's there. That's very, very cool. You can use the gamepad. You can even use an AZERTY keyboard. I didn't even know that existed, which is interesting. I don't believe you can rebind the keys, from what I can tell. You can see the controller layout. As far as I know, you cannot rebind the keys. So that really is about it. Aside from that, you got like 4 resolution options. Like, only about 4, which is really weird. Like, you'd think they would include a few more. There's like 640, 480, 720p, some other thing, and 1080p, and that's it. Like, really? Does it take that much to include proper resolution options? I don't really know. I'm very surprised the mouse sensitivity is as low as it is as well, because I did try controlling this with keyboard and mouse, and usually third-person games are alright with keyboard and mouse. Yeah, you use the mouse for camera control, and you click to attack, and you move with the WAS and D keyboard. That usually works fine. But not in this case, because this thing has horrible mouse acceleration, so the camera goes all over the place, and it's a nightmare to use. So I would recommend, if you for some reason wish to play this, that you play it using a controller. 360 pad, as you might imagine, works pretty much fine. Alright, so this is a game by Red Fly Studio. You shouldn't know them because they haven't done anything of note. It's published by Activision.
Down in the tunnels. He went this way.
And it is about turtles, as you might imagine. And for some reason, the music on this level is stopped, which is really weird. I assume it'll kick into gear again when I actually go to fight.
Wait here a moment.
No, never mind. So much for the stealth aspect of things. Alright, so it is a 3D brawler with some fairly limited stealth elements. And you can play all 4 of the turtles. And at the moment, I actually have the turtles elsewhere. I believe I can pull them back in. What? There we go. So you can switch between the turtles as well, as you can see there, by using the directional pad. If you press in the same direction as the turtle you already have selected, you are able to do a taunt. And that is also a multi-function button to be used for stuff like the stealth sections to tell your turtles not to actually follow you, so you can sneak up and knock people out. There's not a huge amount of reason, as far as I can tell, to actually do stealth on pretty much any of it. It seems entirely legitimate just to go and destroy people in melee combat. The melee combat is hardly difficult, at least not at this stage at any rate. And it's fine, because you even get items that you can use to get your health back anyway, so it's not like that's particularly tricky. Run along here and actually get into some yet more combat. There we go, that's what we like to see. Now, you also have special attacks, which are accessed in the strangest way possible. I cannot imagine what they were thinking when they came up with that combination. Right trigger and quarter circle right stick is what activates the default special attack. Really? What? That was what you came up with? That was a really, really surprising and strange idea indeed, I've got to say. Each of the turtles, as you might imagine, has a different fighting style, and you also have the ability to level up your turtles. My turtle currently is leveled up in spazzing out. He's very, very good at that. In fact, all of them are. Each turtle is leveled up individually, and every time you level up, you get 4 attribute points to spend. I'm not entirely sure if you can only spend it on that individual turtle. I assume you can spend it on whichever turtle you please. But whatever the case, you'll probably find a turtle that you kind of want to main. Ah, wonderful. Connect matching terminals without crossing wires. Route through clock icons for extra time. Great. This is... Okay, so... I connect target tile. Alright. So I guess, do I avoid that? I have no idea. I'm just gonna connect it up. Is that... What does it do? Oh, you've got to... Then connect those... How do you... What? Apparently you can't do it that way then. Alright. Good lord, this is surprisingly difficult considering this is the first time it's ever had me do a puzzle like this. Okay, so that's... Ugh. Can I do it again? Alright. Let's try that again then, shall we? Okay. Oh, it randomized it. Interesting. Alright, so you don't actually have to do the same one over and over again. I guess that's alright. I'm still not entirely sure why it's here in the first place, but... There we go. I mean, it's a mini-game at the end of the day. Hopefully they don't have too many of those. I don't really see the point. Aside from the fighting, you'll get a couple of sort of platforming-esque sections, but a lot of those sections don't really involve any platforming at all. They involve running towards the thing which is highlighted in gold, and then pressing forward and A. That being because the entire first level takes place inside a city, but it's not an open-world game, so they kind of give you the illusion that you're inside a city. What it really is a corridor. It's just they've done... Well, I'd say they did a reasonable job of obfuscating it, but it only really works until you get to the point... Well, never mind. There we go. I forgot to set my turtles to stealth. What would make more sense is if all the turtles just went into stealth when the one you were controlling went into stealth. You know, that would be sensible. But no, they decided you've got to make them wait, otherwise they will just run right into a fight. Just really odd. Anyway, as I was saying, the platforming doesn't really consist of anything because the illusion of it being an open city suddenly disappears when you realize the only thing you can jump it over is the bright gold glowing object. So it's a little pointless that it's even like that. I think these sections underground make way more sense. Now, the main component is the combat, and unfortunately, as you've probably managed to tell just by watching it, the combat is lackluster to say the least. Each of the four turtles has their own fighting style, but none of them are particularly enjoyable, mostly because they're fairly slow-paced and not very well animated. That means the attacks just lack impact. They don't even seem to connect half the time, because I'm pretty sure most of the time they don't. And they try to hide that by having a bunch of fancy particle effects and impact effects and things like that, which is not the way of doing things at all. But that's what they decided to do. And it didn't work out well. It really, really did not, I'm afraid. I'd love to tell you otherwise, but it does not feel good at all. The attacks are really wishy-washy, they whiff pretty much all the time, and they don't have a lot of impact to them. The combos are fairly simplistic. For the most part, it's just a combination of X and Y, and then occasionally using super moves. And then you've got these kind of special attacks that are available once you hit 10 on the combo there. And... you know, there's every now and again you'll see a super move that looks pretty good, but for the most part, the combat is a mess. What makes it worse is the fact that all four turtles are fighting simultaneously, which means the screen gets ridiculously busy and stuff just ends up getting in the way. Now, what they're intending to do, as far as I can tell with it, is make it a kind of co-op title where there are team attacks and things like that, and you can even do stuff like leap over other turtles, which is kind of cool when it actually happens. But what actually ends up happening is the whole thing just ends up being a clusterfuck, honestly. It's such a mess, there's so much stuff in the way, and it compounds it by having a terrible camera, which more often than not pans around to really awful places, which would be fine if you were able to freely aim the camera, but in some of the scenes you can't even do that. It locks to a specific angle, and I'm not even sure why. I mean, the fact that it just jerked over there for no reason is irritating to say the least. And that would be fine if it was just you and a couple of enemies, but it's not. It's usually a lot of enemies and your turtles and lots of particle effects, which is just a colourful mess of nonsense. It also doesn't appear to be a lock-on element. I think what they tried to do with... wow, that's amazing. Can these guys actually make their way over? Because they tried to earlier. Nope. Wow, this is incredible. They're just gonna stand there. They can't figure out how to get over here. This is really silly. Oh, wow. Well, I think what they tried to do is have this kind of free-flowing combat system. Leaps are ridiculous. This free-flowing combat system, kind of like Batman. And they just did it really, really badly. The blocks and the counters are not particularly responsive, unfortunately. You know in Batman where you saw something coming and if you hit that counter button at the right time, you were guaranteed to get an amazing counter that would flow really nicely? Here it just doesn't do that. Half the time it does a counter and misses entirely, which is really, really daft. Not really sure what they were thinking of there. The camera, as you can see, pans into solid objects and blocks half the time, which is not what you're looking for. And just to kind of punctuate the entire thing, the Turtles have about 3 one-liners each that they consistently say over and over again. I've had the time for a staff meeting joke like about 5 times in 2 minutes, which is not great at all. Oh, man. Oh, it's a mess. It's such a mess. What's sad is that I think they could have done a good job with it. This co-op focus seems like it would be fun, right? The integration of stuff like team attacks and taunts, that's kind of neat. Yeah, those are good ideas. And I think that in multiplayer, this might be a little bit... What's it doing? I'm stuck. Oh, I'm stuck. Oh, Lord. This is the second time this has happened, by the way. I've got some hilarious footage of Michelangelo being stuck in terrain. As you can see, I'm stuck in terrain. I can't even move now. Yay. Yay. It is, in fact, turtle time. It is please die turtles time. Oh, man. Yeah, he's going to be stuck there until I get him out of sight, then he'll teleport back to me. What a joke. What a joke. Half of me says that you can switch between 4 turtles because they realized that they had problems with the turtles getting stuck in terrain, so you have to switch out to a turtle that isn't. There we go, he's teleported back in. What magical turtle ninja powers he has. God, that's wonderful, isn't it? What a mess. I think it might be a little bit of fun in multiplayer, especially if you can communicate effectively with your team members to do team attacks and things like that, but frankly... Did I go back the other way? Maybe I did. There we go. I may not be going the right way, but that's probably my own fault for just not paying attention. I assume I haven't gone the right way, because this is a lot of running and nothing's happening here. What would be nice is a navigation arrow, actually. In a place like this where everything looks the same, it's very easy to get turned around. Or a mini-map, or anything like that. I guess it's designed so that you can run back and collect all of the items and concept art and things like that, but it's not succeeding in really doing anything for me. Yep, I definitely ran all the way back to the start of the level. Ah, navigation arrow, please. Common sense. If your levels look all the same, then please have a nav arrow. It's not like exploration is really much of a factor in this title. I don't know what I really expected out of a licensed game like this. I don't think I expected anything good, but I don't necessarily think that I was expecting anything as awful. I guess it's kind of hard, well, you'd think it would be kind of hard to screw up a 3D brawler, but in reality, it's actually very easy, because those are games that rely very much on good quality animations and... What? Raise the roof? I don't know. Good quality animation and combat that flows together nicely and good combos and things like that. It doesn't have any of that. And as a result, it ends up being a complete mess. There are some positives, yeah? I know, I'm railing on it a lot, and with good reason, because it's bad. But what I do like in combat is the movement system. They've done the whole ninja thing pretty well. Most of the walls you can actually spring off of, repeatedly, over and over again. In fact, it seemed like I could actually queue up a command there, because I didn't press it that many times. There we go. That was a little odd. Leaping over people and leaping sideways, doing side flips and leaping over other turtles by vaulting off their back is actually kind of cool. I guess that's the end of the level. Alright, I'll head in this direction. That's pretty good. That's actually quite enjoyable. And if the combat itself actually managed to match up to that, it would be a pretty fun game, I think. But it doesn't. It really, really does not. There's one other thing that bothers me an awful lot, and it's not the voice acting, it's the cutscenes. They can't be skipped, and they're really bad quality. Like, they look awful, frankly. They really, really do. What? With my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle powers, I have the ability to vault over invisible walls. Anyway... Those cutscenes are a waste of time. There's too many of them, and they really don't look very good whatsoever. I guess they're supposed to be retro. They're supposed to invoke a little bit of nostalgia. But they look bad. They really, really do. I am not impressed by them whatsoever. Get out of the way. I can't even move because the turtle got in the way of me. Jesus. Overall, this game is just awful. It really is. It is a sorry, sorry state of affairs. It's a mess. The combat isn't very good. The platforming is basically non-existent. The game's also hideous. I mean, it's got really bad texture quality. This nasty... What is this? There's nasty plastic... What? I can't even get through my points, because every time I try to, the game presents me a new and wonderful bug. Jesus. This is abysmal. Where was I? I've lost my train of thought. I can't focus. This game is too bad. It's just dreadful. It's causing me pain. Oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Oh. Oh, a boss fight? Great. Excellent. At least I can show you the cutscenes. That's nice.
Definitely want to stop hearing you talk
Sorry,
about
this is the employee train, fellas. We're gonna have to throw you off.
You don't just want to tell us what the heck you guys are up to?
What, and spoil the suspense?
We done talking?
I guess so.
I know so.
Alright, begin the fighting. As we were saying, before we were so rudely interrupted. Thank you very much. The graphics have this horrible plasticky quality to them, and they have a nasty obsession with weapon trails and stupid colors which get in the way of everything. Like, it's trying to be Soul Blade in that respect. It looks like an old generation Xbox 360 title, something like Cameo, for instance, or indeed like Perfect Dark Zero, with this horrible cling film or saran wrap plastic effect on pretty much everything. It is not a good looking game. I know it's a $15 title, but we expect more at this point. It's like, $15. It's this or Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. I wonder which is the better purchase, and certainly which one looks better there. It is not very good. It is not very good at all. It has very few redeeming factors, and there are plenty of games that you can get which will offer you the 3D action brawler experience without the pain of having to suffer through this nonsense. I mean, you could buy Batman Arkham Asylum every, like, 2 weeks on sale for $3.50. You could buy any of the Darksiders games. You could even buy Deadpool when it inevitably goes on sale. Admittedly, that's an Activision game, so it probably never will. This is rubbish. Complete licensed tripe, I'm afraid. I would love to tell you otherwise, but there is very little redeeming about this title. It preys on nostalgia, it abuses the license, and hell, if there were a bunch of really, really bad Turtles games, I could say, hey, it's just one in the long line, but actually there aren't. A lot of the Turtles games, especially on the Super Nintendo, were actually pretty good. You know, they were good, solid brawlers for their time. This is none of those things. Ugh. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Out of the Shadows. Hopefully it goes back into the shadows as soon as possible. It is available for $15, your regional equivalent, should you for some reason wish to buy it. I am going to stop playing this game now because, frankly, it is ruining my childhood memories. And I didn't even like Turtles that much. I don't even feel the need to defend it, because I have no real fond memories of it. It was just kind of average cartoon show that I watched. And I still hate the fact that this game exists. What a mess. I'll see you next time.